Good evening, everyone. See, we still have folks coming in the room. Good evening to everyone. Hello, hello. While you're coming in, our chat is open, so please let us know where you're from, who you're representing, what state you're in. We want to know who's here with us today. Oh, folks are still coming. Good evening. Hello, hello. I see Miss Royetta Fulgham. Hello, how are you? Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hello, hello, hello. We certainly want to be deep with our time as well. I see Miss Alice. How are you?
The light was out. That was the light I needed to. It's right above our heads.
Oh, our host is with us as well.
Take this ladder back down. I went and got it.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. We are going to get started. We try to be deep-free with our time as well. So hello, everyone, and welcome to our deep-free town hall. I'm excited to have everyone with us, and we're so happy that you were able to come and hang out with us tonight. Tonight, we have some wonderful exclusive updates for you before we go public. We also have some interactive conversation that we're expecting to have, so please feel free to join us. But before we get started, I want to make sure that we go over our housekeeping tips. So everyone that's here, please keep yourselves on mute in order to minimize distractions or to reduce the amount of the microphone feedback. So in the meantime, though, you can unmute yourself for conversation because this is an interactive discussion. This session will be recorded. So please be sure to know that you all will be recorded and you'll be able to hear and be able to kind of go back over some of the things that we discussed. Our chat is open. If you have any questions during the session, please feel free to type them in the chat feature, and we're going to do our best tonight to address all of them. We do have a Q&A set up toward the end, so we want to make sure that you're here. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce to some and present to others none other than the chairman of D-Free Global Foundation, Dr. DeForest B. Soaries Jr.
Thank you, Reverend Sutton. And thanks to all of you for joining me tonight. If you cannot hear me, raise your hand. Okay, good. I want to thank all of you for joining me tonight. And before we talk about D-Free, let me thank all of you who have been praying for me for your prayers. This is for me day 5 of a 14-day quarantine due to testing positive for COVID-19. And the reason I want you to know that is because I am probably best known in New Jersey for a commercial that I did urging people to get the vaccine. And I know particularly in states like Florida, Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, if you live in those states, you are involved in a major political conflict over vaccine and whether or not the vaccine can be trusted, whether or not the vaccine can be imposed upon us. I was one of the first people in my state to get the vaccine. I took pictures getting the vaccine for the purpose of encouraging more people to get the vaccine. And I can tell you now that last Monday I was in Colorado. Last Tuesday night, I felt symptoms, and by Wednesday I was on my back. Thursday, I was diagnosed with positive testing. Thursday night, I had a medical procedure called monoclonal antibody, and put on quarantine for 14 days. If I had not gotten the vaccine, you would not be talking to me tonight. I have had conditions that I won't describe in detail, but I only share with you my personal story for one reason, and that is to encourage everyone to get vaccine. Had the vaccine not been in my body, the trauma that I have experienced would have been much worse. And so get the vaccine, whatever you can do. It will not protect you from the virus, but it can protect you from the virus taking you out. So that's number one tonight. God bless you and thank you for your prayers. I also want to thank the D-Free team for all of the work that's been happening, particularly on these Monday night lives. It was easy for me to kind of slip in to the conversation because so many of you have been involved in connecting every Monday night. And that connection has created some momentum that has encouraged us to do what I'm about to describe to you in a few moments. So thank you for your Monday night commitment. Thank you for your commitment to financial freedom. And thank you for your leadership. Many of you have taught D-Free classes. Many of you have asked how you can help D-Free. Many of you have spread the word as D-Free ambassadors. Many of you helped us celebrate the Juneteenth D-Free campaign. So thank you. Thank you for your commitment. Now, let me say that despite how I feel, and despite the rise in COVID infections, we are by whatever means necessary, entering into what we will know historically to be the post-COVID season. Some because of economic reasons, some for health reasons, but whatever the reason, we are determined as a planet, and we certainly are determined as a country to get past COVID-19. And what I'm telling you is that we are not past COVID-19 in terms of how COVID-19 has impacted our economics. You know that when America has a challenge, Black people have a super challenge. I told my team this afternoon that when America when America has a glitch, Black people end up in a ditch. And that's what's true about this post-COVID-19 period. More of our businesses went under, fewer of our businesses got PPP loans, more of our people lost their jobs, fewer of our people have been reemployed, more of our people will lose their homes as the foreclosure restrictions have been lifted. More of our people will be evicted as the eviction restrictions have been lifted. And so we need an economic financial strategy now more than we ever have had before. And so if financial freedom was ever a matter of great urgency in this post-COVID season, while our people sit in their homes without adequate food, as our people are constantly and consistently looking for jobs, not able to find them, and as they watch the rest of the country recover, just like we did after the mortgage crisis, just like we did after the recession, as Black people watch white people recover, they're going to need churches and sororities and fraternities and just good people more than we've ever needed before. Not only do our families need it, but our young people. Our young people are wondering what's the purpose in going to college? What's the use in looking for jobs? And the violence that is growing in cities around the country where Black children are on fire with anger and frustration, and they're taking it out on each other. It's directly related to a lack of hope, a lack of purpose, and a lack of motivation. And so we are redoubling our efforts. When you get to the point where I am in life, and you look at the last 30 or 40 years of your work, it's very tempting to say, I've done my assignment. I retired from my pulpit 4 weeks ago, and the church has never been in stronger shape. In fact, the church did so well in the last year, I was tempted to withdraw my retirement and go back and enjoy some of the fruits of my labor. But when I look at my own work, there's a part of me that says, you know, I fought a good fight, I've kept the faith, and I finished my course, and now it's time to sit down. And then as I continue to look around our communities, and as I continue to read my email and read messages on social media, what I realize is that my work is just not done. My work is not done. And since my work is not done, I want to really invite all of you to make a special commitment for the next few months to help our people emerge out of this global pandemic into a season of strategic prosperity. And I use the word strategically, because I'm not talking about pie in the sky. I'm not talking about get rich quick. I'm not talking about twinkle, twinkle, little star. What I'm talking about is a tactical, incremental, strategic plan to help our people close this wealth gap. And that's what our commitment is. Our commitment is to use the tools available, to use all the contacts we have, and to use all the resources we can muster to close this wealth gap one family at a time. And when I talk about a wealth gap, what I'm talking about is the fact that the average white family in America owns 10 times more than the average Black family. The median net worth for white people is 10 times the median net worth of Black people. And 35% of Black America has a negative net worth. A negative net worth means that you owe more than you own. A negative net worth means you owe more than you own, which means that what you own really belongs to somebody else. The reason we focus on debt as the first step towards closing the wealth gap is because when you pay off $1 of debt, you've increased your net worth by $1. Your net worth is the value of your assets minus the amount of your liabilities. And debt is a liability, which means that if I own $1 million in assets, or if I have $1 million in cash, but I owe $1.5 million in debt, the first step to having a net worth is to pay off the $1.5 million in debt. And many of our people have had to use credit cards despite their better judgment just to survive COVID. They've had to use credit cards to buy groceries. They've had to use credit cards to pay car notes. They've had to use high rate credit cards and hard money loans to keep their businesses open. And when COVID lifts, they're going to be saddled with debt that is overwhelming. And when your debt is overwhelming, your spirits are down, your health gets bad, your temper gets short. It's hard to sleep at night. It's hard to focus on the long term because you're busy trying to make it past the last of the month. And so, my brothers and sisters, this is a moment when we can't afford to celebrate the idea that COVID-19 is lifting. What we have to do is to recommit ourselves to the kind of freedom that many of us have fought for in the past around social rights, civil rights, and other kinds of rights. This is a different kind of struggle. And while almost all of my friends are courageously fighting the good fight for voting rights, which is a good fight, it's a righteous fight. Who would have thought that in year 2021, we'd still be fighting for the right to have access to polling places in the city the way they have polling places in the suburbs? Who would have thought that we'd still be marching to ensure that Black people had access to the ballot box for which we fought for so many years? But the reality is that's a fight. And I thank God for those brothers and sisters who are continuing to fight the battle for voting rights and for equal justice under the law. Challenge we have is that even the fight for civil rights, the fight for voting rights takes money. And were it not for major white philanthropists, the cause for fighting on behalf of Black voting could not be fought because we don't have enough money to finance our own struggle. And so let me tell you what I'm going to ask you to do, because I want to share with you where I am going, where the team is going, and what we are preparing to do to serve you in ways we've never served you before. On September the 17th and 18th, that's 5 weeks from now, September the 17th and 18th, we're going to have what I'm calling our 2021 Leadership Retreat. Now, the purpose of this gathering, it's all virtual, all online. On the 17th, which is a Friday, I want to invite a few hundred people to a private reception. And I'm doing that because all year long, we've been asking people to give donations to the foundation. We haven't pressed the case hard. We haven't promoted this widely, but we have a few hundred people who have donated $5, $10. I think the average gift was about $23. And no, it was about $43. I'm sorry. And what I want to do on September the 17th, and many of you are on this Zoom tonight, I want to spend some time on Friday night, September 17th, thanking you for the donation that you gave. And the way rich people do with rich donors, I want to give you some inside information on how your money is being used and where we are really planning to go. That's on September the 17th. And then I'm hoping to have a special thank you gift for those who gave money during the year. And we want to make sure that the year does not end without us appropriately thanking you. If you gave 72 cents, I want to spend that time with you, because when you're organizing a movement and when you're building a campaign the way we are, we take every dollar and every dime seriously. And so if you gave $1 to the D Free Global Foundation, you're going to get a private invitation to spend Friday night with me, simply to say thank you and to give you information that no one else will have, because you deserve it most. Excuse me. Then on Saturday, we're going to start around midday Saturday. And what we're going to do on Saturday, and this is very important, especially for new people tonight. If you're new tonight, would you put in the chat that you're new so that we can see it? I just want to pause and see who is new tonight. Hey, Jennifer, I know you're not new. Good to see you. If you're new, good. Welcome, Janice, welcome. Vita, welcome. This is your first time, welcome. You're getting in right at the right time. Welcome to Carla, good to see you. Welcome, Kenny Palmer, Joey, good to see you. CJ, wonderful, thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight. Carrie, thanks for joining us tonight. All right, on September the 17th, that's a Friday night, we're going to have a private reception for people who have been kind enough to give on average a gift of 40, hey, Fleeta, to give $43. We had a few hundred people, and if I recall correctly, the last time I checked, the average gift was $43. And we love that, because if we have a grassroots movement, we need grassroots support. Then on Saturday, September 18th, and this is, if you're new, this is critical for you. If you're not new, this is even more critical for you. On the 18th, we made a list of the things that we have done that other people need to know about. And the reason I say other people should know about is because as activists, we all work in different spaces. We all have different priorities. And that's, the beautiful thing about being Black is that we need everything. So if you want to help Black people, you can really just close your eyes and aim either at a subject or at a strategy. And the same is true of finance. If you want to help Black people financially, if you want to expose us to financial freedom, there are many different ways to do it. And now, after almost 17 years of building this brand and this movement, D Free, we've got some things that we want to share that you can use wherever you are. Number one, we now have a relationship with enough national organizations led by Delta Sigma Theta sorority that we and the Deltas want to share the strategy that the Deltas have used in their national organization. There are very few organizations as large and as impactful as the Deltas. And there is no organization yet. Now the AKAs are on their way, the Divine Nine, the Phi Beta Sigma, you know, there are organizations on their way. But we've got new organizations. We've got, for instance, an organization based in Chicago that's kind of building out the vision of that young brother that got killed in LA. What's his name? Nipsey Hussle. Was it Nipsey Hussle? They've got people all over the country. So we're going to take national organization or model, and we're going to document the process. We're going to have people who are in national organizations explain the process. Then we're going to give that information away for free. And then we're going to help those organizations launch their national strategy. And we're only going to share with you information from people where it works. The second thing we're going to share is we've got a national model for people that want to help their employees achieve financial freedom. There are pockets, the Black McDonald's Owners Association, the Black business development organizations around the country. We have pockets of organizations, both Black owned and white owned, that employ millions of Black people, the healthcare industry, the beauty industry. And what we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate, because we've done this pilot and we know how it works, we're going to demonstrate and teach employers how they can use D-Free to help their employees achieve financial freedom. All of the data shows that if an employee has financial resources at work, if employees learn how to handle money while they're at work, if employees have as a benefit of their job information about finance, they have less stress at work, they have less absenteeism, they have higher productivity, they have fewer calls from bill collectors, they take less time off. And so we're going to demonstrate our model for workplace utilization, and then we're going to give that information away, and then we'll be set up after the 18th to teach any company that wants to do this for free how to do it. Then we have faith-based collaboratives. We have partnered over the last few years with organizations as diverse as the National Baptist Convention of America, Full Gospel Baptist Association, Pentecostal Assemblies of the World, the AME Church in 3 or 4 districts. And what we're going to do, because there's so many national faith-based organizations and so many reformations, there's so many prelates that have asked the question, how can I bring financial tools to my community? We're going to do the same thing. We're going to talk to our leading faith-based partner. We're going to document in graphic detail how they've been able to bring D-Free to their national denominations. And then we're going to give that information away and then follow up to ensure that any national faith partner that wants to launch D-Free will be able to do it literally right away. Then we have hundreds of individuals who have been trained in the D-Free leadership training. They're certified D-Free leaders. And we have, for those who are interested in becoming one, we have a panel that's going to explain exactly what's involved, what's in the content, how long does it take, what are the outcomes, and by the way, what are the benefits to the leader? Because what we've learned is that when you lead D-Free, you become more D-Free. Then we have a network of local organizations. We have the Chamber of Commerce, the Black Chamber of Commerce in Fresno, California. We have Increasing Hope, a local HUD certified housing counseling agency in Charleston, North Carolina. We have hundreds of local organizations that don't have a national body, but they're working hard in their community to bring about economic change and closing this wealth gap one family at a time. And we're going to walk through, we're going to have a presentation for local organizations, explaining to local organizations, this is the value, this is the resource, this is the benefit that you can derive from being a part of this movement. And then we have our corporate partners. We have a major corporate partnership, and we're going to talk to people who either work for large corporations and would like them to get involved in this movement to close the Black wealth gap, or people who own corporations, who run corporations and lead corporations. And we want to show you the mutual benefit of how a company with integrity that really does believe Black lives matter will contribute to and participate in bringing resources to Black America that don't help them become more dependent, but help us become less dependent. And then finally, we're going to have our representatives from South Africa and from Ghana, West Africa, to talk about what we are doing in Africa and how D-Free in America is contributing to new financial models in Africa. D-Free in Africa is not functioning the way D-Free does in California. There are different needs, different cultures, but the same principles apply. And there are 4 basic principles for financial freedom. You got to get started. You have to take control. There's a way to get ahead. And at the end, you want to give back. Those are the 4 driving principles of D-Free. And we teach you the how of achieving that what. Now, we're also on the 18th of September at our 21 leadership retreat. We're going to launch a brand new website in addition to the websites we have called dfree.com. And the dfree.com website is being developed right now, and it's going to be rich with even more resources that you can use in your own life and in the lives of those that you lead to help them achieve this financial freedom. We're going to announce something that we call FinFest. FinFest is really an expanded version of what we did last November, which was called Debt-a-thon. It's going to be a debt-a-thon on steroids. And the FinFest in November is going to, of course, be the platform where we start our next campaign, I'm Dreaming of a Black Christmas. And we're going to ask Black people to be in the black on Christmas instead of going into the red on Christmas. And then finally, on the 18th of September at our 21 leadership retreat, we're going to give some insights on where we're going in the year 2022. We're developing products, we're developing media, and we're developing strategies for 2022, because we believe that 2022 is going to pose challenges that Black people have had that we've never seen before, that our churches are going to be struggling, our organizations are going to be struggling, our businesses are going to be struggling. And what we want to do is to get ahead of that. We know now that Black America is going backwards financially, even though there are few of us that are making more money now than we've ever made before. You read about it in Black Enterprise, you see it on Black News Channel, and you read about, Tyler Perry and Bishop Jakes and all these guys that are making millions of dollars. We've got more Black billionaires than we've ever had before, but we also have more Black poverty than we've ever had before. And so while we celebrate the achievement, we're not hating on anybody. We celebrate the achievement of Black success. We are called by God to preach good news to poor people. And the only news that's good to poor people is that you don't have to stay poor much longer. There is no good news for poor people about staying poor. And yes, I had to tell some very wealthy philanthropists last week who happen to be Christian, Jesus said, the poor you will have with you. But Jesus never said that the same folk would stay poor. Never said that. So just because the Bible says there'll always be poor people, that does not relieve us of our responsibility to help people get out of poverty and to close this wealth gap one family at a time. Now, of course, in order to accomplish all of what we plan to accomplish, our core strategy is around technology. And the two things I need you to do between now and September the 17th, just two things. Thing number one, I need you to register so that you can be a part of the September 18th meeting. And of course, if you give a donation of 25 cents or more, I'll invite you personally to the Friday night meeting. But the second thing is this, and this doesn't cost you any money. I need you to go to the D-Free Online Academy, if you haven't been there already, or to the billiondollarpaydown.com platform. And I need you to sign up. I need you to use the platform. All of you that are new, I'd like you to do it tonight. Because by September the 18th, what we're working on is making sure our online assets, our digital tools are flawless. That's the word, flawless. And the only way to do that, I don't have enough staff to pay people to do this. So what I need you to do is to go to the platform. I need you to test. I need you to go through the curriculum. I need you to click the links, and anything that you see that needs fixing or needs improvement or needs clarification, I need you to send me an email, because by September the 18th, it has to be flawless. And it can't be flawless unless we get help from an army of volunteers that will help us as volunteers. I wish I could pay everybody to be a consultant. I wish I could pay you for your time. But if you'll spend 2 or 3 hours on our platform, in fact, between now and September 18th, you could actually go through the entire D-Free course, the 12 Steps to Financial Freedom course. And if you do that, not only will you be able to help us by giving us feedback on what we need to do to make it more flawless, but you'll also graduate and be ready to become a D-Free activist. I've got a very special opportunity that I'm going to offer on the 18th of September, but I don't want to offer anybody anything until I'm sure that when you go to our website, mydfree.org, and when you click that link, and when you sign up for the $1 Billion Challenge, I need to make sure before I open my big mouth on the 18th in front of all of these people, I need to make sure that it serves you the way you need to be served. Now, if there's anything that we've done that you think is worth repeating, if there's any part of our work that you just love, I'd like to hear about that tonight. But if there's something we need to fix, don't tell me tonight. I feel bad enough. Don't make me laugh. I feel bad enough already. So if you have any criticism, hold it until I get off of COVID. But if you have any encouragement, I'll hear that tonight, because that'll help heal my soul and my body. But seriously, the two things, hey, Valerie, I see you. There are two things I really want you to do. I need you to sign up for September the 18th. And I think we're going to have a link for the registration. Registration is free. And because once you sign up, then you can invite your friends to sign up and invite your neighbors and invite your family, because we're going to really call this demon of Black poverty a liar on September the 18th. And we're going to declare victory, not just spiritual victory, but we're going to have a strategy for victory. The only thing worse than not having what you need is not using what you have. And God has given us a vision. He's given us a strategy. He's given us a testimony. And the book of Revelation says that we'll overcome by our testimony. And so we're going to share the testimonies of people that have been helping to set captives free. We have, for instance, a young couple that we've been working with that has paid off $400,000 in the last 3 years. $400,000 in the last 3 years because of D-Free. And we're going to share that testimony, and we're going to invest resources in making sure that everybody hears that testimony. Because you see, the devil has us believing that it's not possible. And we know that nothing is too hard for God. And we've got great testimonies, but we haven't shared those testimonies at the level that we have. So if you would allow me now to sit back and listen, I'd love to hear good news. Don't give me any bad news tonight. I'll just log off. I got enough bad news. I'm coughing and I'm locked in my bedroom. Haven't been outside in a week. This is day 5 of quarantine. And I don't need any more bad news. Give me bad news starting tomorrow. You go to that website. If you see a misspelled word, if you click a link, it doesn't work, I'll be ready tomorrow. I'm not ready for that tonight. All I want tonight, I want to hear somebody say something encouraging. If one of these Monday Night Lives have helped you, say so. If our Wednesday webinars have blessed you, say so. If one of our staff members has talked you through a challenging moment, I want you to say so. And I'll be able to go to, maybe I'll sleep early tonight because I'll be less frustrated and I'll be blessed by your testimonies. So come on, Reverend Shonda, would you please coordinate these testimonies for me?
Ready? All right. Well, you have a couple of questions as well before we get to testimonies as they're coming. The first question is, when speaking with corporations, is the content still faith-based when we share D-Free?
Yeah, you're gonna hear the details about that on the 18th, but we have 2 curricula. We have a workplace workbook and we have a church-based workbook. Now, many Black organizations are fundamentally faith anyway, like the Deltas and the AKAs, all of our sororities, fraternities, they use the church version, but we have a workplace solution for people who use D-Free. And the company that we're going to feature on September the 18th has used the workplace workbook, and they'll be able to describe how the D-Free workplace approach has been of value to their employees. That's a great question.
Thank you.
And then on the 18th, I'm going to describe for you the additional resources that we'll have starting 2022.
Thank you. Thank you. We have another question. Someone has a prior commitment on the dates we mentioned. How would they get the information if missed? Will we be recording the sessions?
Yes, if you register, what will happen is everyone who registers will get an email after the event's over with a link to watch the recording.
Thank you. Thank you. We have another one. Do you know when the faith-based D-Free Academy class will start?
Yes, I do. Well, wait, no, I don't. What I said was it would start by January. The content is all finished. I would have more information had I not been sick for the last 5 days, but the content is done. There's some video editing that has to happen, but you won't regret this. That content is basically an exegetical presentation on Luke chapter 15. And if you've heard me for the first time talk about D-Free, or if you watched our webinar with Dr. Freddie Haynes and Dr. Bruce Williams, you will hear them describing their perception. They're the ones who inspired this. They told me that I should do a special presentation on Luke chapter 15 based on what they heard me do at Friendship West. And so we've turned that into a presentation that takes you all the way through those 4 principles, but focused exclusively and totally on Luke 15. I have a meeting actually tomorrow. The person who has taken the lead on that, the team that's taking the lead on that, is also working on the corporate presentation for the 18th. And so I'll be able to announce the actual date that the faith course will be released, Faith and Finance, on September 18th.
Beautiful. You have a lot of well wishes in the comments, as well as a couple of testimonies. Linda Wall says, thank you for the many good speakers that offered great information. And she's just paid off a third credit card and plans to get another paid off this year. She's committed to being D-free and telling others. Thank you, Dr. Soares.
Well, let me just say this to you. Congratulations, because you're one of the people who seems to understand that if I told you about a stock that was going to increase by 8% over the next, guaranteed increase by 8%, that you should buy it. If you bought that stock, if you put $1,000 into that stock, you'd have $1,080 at the end of the year. That's a good return on a stock. But you're one of the people who understands that you really make more money by paying off a 14% credit card than investing in an 8% stock. And 14% is low. Some of our people are paying 24%, 29%. And if you make a late payment, you're making 35% payments on credit cards. And so when people ask us, well, what's a good investment? The best investment in the world is to pay off credit cards. It's better than any stock. It's better than any mutual fund. It's better than any return you would get, certainly from a bank account. So thank you for that testimony, and thank you for your commitment. Now the key is, if you use your credit cards, pay it off right away. I use credit cards, but I pay it off right away. If I charge something on my credit card on Tuesday, I pay it off on Wednesday. I don't even wait to the end of the week because I don't want to forget. That way you're using the credit card for all kinds of things, and you're using it for free, because if you pay it off right away, they don't charge you interest. And that's what we want our people to know. We're not against using credit cards. We're against using credit cards as if it's income to finance a lifestyle that we can't afford.
Thank you. Looks like there's a personal shout out from Evie Johnson of Increasing Hope. She says, Miss Catherine Taylor is my real life guardian angel. She's walked me through my first teaching, a complete D-free course on my own, where we graduated 12 participants, and we're on week 2 of the newest class. So that's Evie Johnson of Increasing Hope.
Now, Evie Johnson, I didn't know that. You know I didn't know that because you just told me. But early today, I said that Catherine Taylor should be the one to talk to Increasing Hope during our presentation on September 18th. See how the Lord can use you even while you're dying at home in bed.
Janae Grant says she's enjoying the Wealth on Wednesday webinars, and she always gets great information, and she really enjoys the D-Free Fellowship on Monday nights.
Well, Janae, that's great. Now, I met you through Kiara Sheard, and Kiara Sheard has already made a commitment to do some more D-Free things with us later on this year. She's certainly going to be one of our special artists at our FinFest. The FinFest is going to be kind of like a telethon. It's going to be entertaining. We've got some outstanding talent, but I wouldn't have anybody sing anything without Kiara Sheard being the headliner. So, Sister Grant, thank you for your response. You've been with us steadily ever since we met in February. And now we're going to I told Kiara, we've got to take her $1 billion pay down group to a larger level. And what I envision for next year is to have a Kiara Sheard class inside the online academy.
Excellent. This next shout out is from Roxanne Jones, and she says, from the inaugural class to the leadership training to the D9 class, she is just sprung on D-Free. She says she shares it with everyone, and she's looking forward to teaching her class with her Delta chapter and various churches. She says, thank you. She has relationships with Dr. Soares. You and your team are just awesome. So she's going to teach it with all the relationships she has.
Thank you so much. I'm encouraged by that. I'm feeling better already. My voice is getting stronger. I think I might even eat some chicken tonight. Y'all getting me all excited.
Arbor Cooper says she took money out of her bank and CD, and she put it into Money Lion, and she made more in one day than she could have this whole year with her bank CD.
All right, but now let me warn you for all of you that are investing and all of you Thank you, Royetta. I'm eating soup. Um, but let me warn all of you, when you invest in the stock market, and that's what whether it's a mutual fund or all the funds that Money Lion gives us access to is the stock market. It can go up today and down tomorrow. And I want you to get excited, but I want you to moderate your excitement, because those kinds of investments are long-term. Because if you get too excited when it goes up, you'll get equally depressed when it goes down, and you might be tempted to sell. So hang in there. Understand that those kinds of investments are longer term investments or good emergency fund investments. But as excited as I want you to be, stay excited, but just understand that the market goes up and the market goes down, and the market's been going up so well for so long. You have to be careful about putting too much money in the stock market, because it just can't keep going the way it's been going forever. And there's a correction on its way. And what you don't want to do is get caught being old like me and I can't afford another correction. So I took a lot of money out of the stock market, because it usually takes 3 or 4 years after correction for the correction to recover. I don't have 3 or 4 years. I'm retired. I'm unemployed. I need steady income. I need guaranteed income. So just be careful and make sure you're talking to a financial professional so that they can give you some insights on what you invested in.
Thank you. Here is Lisa DeMary, who says she has been attending the Wednesday webinar since June. She appreciates the practical knowledge and simple actionable steps shared. Additionally, she's been building a network of financial planners, real estate, insurance, and mortgage lending professionals. So thank you.
Yeah, that reminds me, Reverend, to say this. We've been talking as a team about our Wednesday webinars. You know, we started our Wednesday webinars specifically in response to COVID. That was the purpose. April 1st, 2020, 2 weeks after the shutdown because of COVID, we said, let's do something midday, midweek to help people get a break and to bring people good information about finances. Now that COVID is kind of moving into the background, more and more people are out and about. You know, a year ago this time, we were stuck at home, period. But now that we're moving around, now that we're going to church, now that some of us are going to the office to work instead of being stuck at home, we are trying our best to figure out the best strategy to share the information that we normally share during our Wednesday webinars. And if you have any thoughts concerning that, if you have any advice, we'd love to hear it. We'd love to hear from you how you think we can best distribute the kind of information. We're going to keep distributing information. We're going to keep sharing strategies and developing content. But what we need from you, especially those of you that have been loyal week after week after week, we need to hear from you suggestions on how best to distribute that information. Now, of course, we'll study market data. We've got digital marketing geniuses that are giving us advice, and there are all kinds of gimmicks, but I'm primarily concerned about the people that we serve. I'm not interested in serving more people until we perfect the art of serving our existing people better. Yes. So can I say that again? I'm not as interested in serving more people until we perfect the art of serving our existing people better. So we're primarily interested in how to better serve you, because if we serve you better, then when we reach more people, we know that we'll be serving them better at the same time.
Thank you again. Here's Elder Joseph Dillard. He says, mindset is critical for this transformation. D-Free offers the curriculum and tools to help individuals and organizations change their mindset. He said, more money is not necessarily the answer. We can do more with less if we understand and practice the financial principles given in D-Free. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Joseph. There is a church in Atlanta. There are 2 churches in Atlanta I really could use your help connecting with. if my team would help me connect Brother Joseph to those two churches, I love that. However, we are coming to Atlanta. There are three locations that we are committing to doing some kind of live event and bringing additional resources in person. One of them is, of course, and missing a lot of our own people right here in our home base of New Jersey. And so we're going to focus heavily on Newark, New Jersey and surrounding areas. We're going to focus on Detroit, Michigan, in large measure because Kiara Sheard has have dreams and passion for her hometown. And we did a film with Prudential called Legacy in Detroit. And Detroit is coming back. Detroit is one of those cities where downtown is booming, booming. Rocket mortgages in Detroit, and it's just, and out in the neighborhoods, it still looks like 1967 after the riots. And so we're going to make a special commitment. There's some young brothers in Detroit doing some phenomenal work that we're connected to now. So we're coming to Detroit. And then the third city is Atlanta and the Atlanta region. Dewey Smith and House of Hope have done a great job working with us in Atlanta. John Gray just opened a new site in Atlanta for his church in South Carolina. He'll be working with us. My dear friend Jamal Bryant is in Atlanta. And then, of course, we've launched at Ebenezer, where Senator Reverend Walren is the senior pastor. And so we're coming to Atlanta to kind of collect our friends, Bill Watley, Zion over in Marietta. We've got a number of friends in the Atlanta region, and we want to bring Prudential with us and some other corporate partners because, sometimes corporations want to help, but they don't know who to help. And we've agreed to introduce Prudential to our friends in Atlanta so that they can be their friends in Atlanta and be a blessing in Atlanta the way they were a few years back in Indianapolis.
Beautiful.
So, Brother Dillard, we need you in Atlanta.
He's shaking his head. I can see him on the screen. Tracy Williams is saying that she loves the Divine Nine method of going through the classes. Like online college, she said she takes responsibility for learning. Plus, she received the benefits and experienced graduates and D-free leaders. So she enjoyed the Divine Nine. Thank you so much, Tracy Williams.
That's great, Tracy. I'm encouraged. I'm very encouraged. This is the best day I've had in a long time.
This is good. They're still coming in. Paris Smith says, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. Michelle Williams said, this is a new beginning for her.
Good. I need this to be a new beginning for you because it's going to be a new beginning for us.
Paris Smith also added that that he is debt-free as of December of 2020 because of this program.
That's marvelous. Where do you live? What city is that?
Paris Smith, where are you from?
I know he's in Kentucky, but what city in Kentucky?
I'm in DC, Doc. I'm in DC, pastor in Mount Carmel Baptist Church.
Get out of here. You moved from Kentucky?
Yes, sir. I moved from Kentucky. I've been in DC now at Mount Carmel come November, 2 years.
Oh my goodness. Thank God for that. That's wonderful. When I get to DC, I'll be sure to look you up, let you buy me some lunch with your
I don't buy you lunch, Doc. I buy you real dinner. Plus, you can always bring D-Free to Mount Carmel anytime you want to come to DC, Doc. You're more than welcome.
Well, get your leaders signed up for the 18th of September, and we will. I'll make sure that you're launched this year.
Yes, sir. No problem. We'll be there on 18th of September.
Good hearing your voice.
Yes, sir. Good to see you and happy retirement to you.
Yes, sir. Thank God.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Birch Clark said, I enjoyed the Wealth on Wednesday series. Dr. Soaries, we declare that we are healed in Jesus' name.
Thank God for that.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much.
Who else is here? Okay, Jennifer Jones said, excellent, Dr. Soaries. This is outstanding. To the Money Lion and stock market investment, index universal life insurance. She said saving accounts are the best, and she gives some more advice in here. So thank you very much about life insurance, as well as savings and stock markets.
Yeah, well, this is really a great night. You know, in church, we say this is the day that the Lord has made. This is a night that the Lord has made. Jennifer Jones disappeared on us about 5 years ago, and now she has reappeared. Now that's it was worth doing all this just to connect with Jennifer Jones.
Here we have, let's see, who's this? Valerie Yerger mentioned that in the past 2 to 3 years, she's paid off my 9 credit cards. I look at my credit cards now as expensive money, but use a few of them to pay my monthly utility bills for the points. And then she says she pays her credit cards off every month. And she now has credit scores ranging from 828 to 850, depending on the source, and up from the mid 600s. She's qualified to refinance her home for an extremely low fixed rate. What a praise.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We've got to talk about ways to increase wealth. Getting out of debt is a good first step. One of my discoveries this year, I'll just give you my testimony, has been short-term rentals, vacation rentals. I owned an apartment building, and people were late on their rent, and some people just forgot about their rent. And I bought these short-term rental houses in a resort area. I get paid before they even show up. And when they leave, they send me my check electronically. This short-term rental business is a very profound business. And I'm praying about starting a group where people can, D-free people can invest in a business to buy short-term rentals, because we've got to help you grow your money. It's not just enough to get out of debt. We've got to own and grow capital. There's a young lady in South Carolina. I'm trying to reach her. Jasmine, you know what I'm talking about. This is a young lady who was doing nails. And those who heard the podcast may remember her. She started doing nails, and then she started teaching other young ladies how to do nails. And now she has a nail school, and she makes money off the school. And young people who haven't gone any further in high school are making $60,000 and $70,000 a year after getting licenses to do nails. And what we want to do is put together a group of people to invest in her so that we can set up a franchise under her nail shop, so that through D-Free, you'll be able to get a nail franchise and bring that young Black woman's business to your community. And we've got a franchise guru that I'm as soon as I get out of bed, I'm gonna talk to him. It's going to help us set up the structure so that people can invest. We can start investing in each other and growing our wealth, and not just bragging about paying off credit cards. Paying off credit cards is important, and because now we should have more access to our own capital to invest and to own and to leave a legacy for our children.
Awesome. I see a shout out here from Bates Memorial Baptist Church.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Go. They've graduated since 2016, approximately 100 students, church and community wide.
Tell Bruce Williams I need their names. Don't keep it to himself. We want to send them official certificates. We want to measure their success. We want to document their participation, and tell him if he's too busy preaching 300 sermons a week, let you do it for him.
Yes, indeed. We want to shout out, it looks like Mr. Kenneth Palmer is on. He shouted out, he's just mentioning that a pastor, Senator Reverend Warnock, and just saying hello from Ebenezer, and would like Mr. Dillard's information, which we will make sure we do.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I'm coming back to Atlanta. And Ebenezer will factor heavily into our strategies. In fact, we may need to borrow your church for an event. You know, that spot in the back where we had that men's breakfast. That's a great spot to do something. But we're so proud of Pastor Warnock, and we want everyone to pray for him. And we're going to want people to donate to his campaign. You see, that's the other part of politics that makes me mad. You know, we talk about registering people to vote. Then what happens is we end up having to vote for the lesser of two evils because we don't have the money to run our own candidates. Listen, the Republicans don't want us. The Democrats take us for granted. No one's going to take us seriously until we start financing our own campaigns. Then folk will start dealing with us the way they deal with Jewish people and they deal with Cubans in Florida, the way they deal with all kinds of ethnic groups. We're the only ethnic group in America that's owned by a political party. Every other group has to be appealed to. So you see candidates appealing to other constituencies. But in our case, all the Democrats have to do is get us out to vote. That's why the Republicans know if they can stifle the black vote, it's going to help the Democrats because all black people vote Democrat. And I'm certainly not urging us to vote Republican. What I'm urging us to do is to have enough money to put up our own candidates, to tell our own story.
That's it. That's it. Well, shout out to Dorothea Bernique from Increasing Hope. She's here. And
Hey, Dorothea.
She's saying Increasing Hope is now a designated SBA Women's Business Center.
Wonderful.
To partner with you to empower small business owners and to help them grow wealth through their businesses here in South Carolina.
Wonderful. You know, at our FinFest, we're going to announce a partnership with a company, the leading company in America that finances home. I guess the best way to describe it is people that buy homes and fix them up and sell them. And we're going to pilot our partnership in Charleston. So Dorothea, I talked to the CEO just before I got sick. We're committed to pulling together our agreement. And I've got Artris has a group of young cats in Chicago, Detroit, and some other places. But we're going to pilot this in Charleston and perfect the relationship. And then we're going to spread it around the country.
Indeed. And actually, he's in the chat. He was just reminding you the very same thing. So he's in the chat saying that thing about him and the brothers being excited about launching D-Free their way.
Definitely, definitely. I wanted to go to Chicago next weekend to meet with him and his brothers, but I'll still be in quarantine. So I'm hoping, Archers, we can do it by video so I can share some of my vision and we can share some of our strategies next weekend.
Right. Parents Engaging Parents is excited to be joining this energy of leaders, and they thank D-Free. They're here. They're located here in New Jersey.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Right.
I didn't know about Parents Encouraging Parents, but I have another program called Operation Great Expectations. It's a youth program for young people that need a little coaching and mentoring to stay on track. And somehow OGE and PEP should probably connect up.
All right, with the letters. Here's Karen Cooperwood, and she's saying, amen, Dr. Soares, thank you and the D-Free team for all the information you have shared with her personally. She said it's made her think differently about her money and her finances. Karen's one of our faithful ones on Monday Night Live and also on Wednesdays.
Good, good. Well, you've done exactly what I asked you to do. You've encouraged me tonight and you've given some great testimonies. Now, I want you to take the 2 steps I asked you to take. One, do we have a link yet? Excuse me. Do we have a link yet for the leadership retreat?
Yes, we showed it on the screen, but it's also in the chat. We're going to drop it again in the chat.
Okay. Yep. So if you would register for the retreat, because even if you can't make it, you can invite others, you can share the link with other people, and you also you'll get an email. When we do these kinds of events, we will send you an email as soon as now this is long, this is a lot of video, but we'll send you an email with a link to these videos. All right, Karen, that's Karen says she's already registered and shared it with other folks. And then the second thing is starting tomorrow. Don't mess with me tonight because I feel bad enough, but starting tomorrow, if you go to the D-Free Academy, go to the $1 Billion Challenge, I'm telling you, we need your help. We've got consultants, we've got technology people, but we need real live users, people to go in there, go through the course, register for the challenge, use the asset, because I've got Darius, I've got Miss Kyle, and I've got a whole team of people. They're going to take your feedback and help us do whatever enhancements, I won't call it fixing, in whatever enhancements we can do to make your experience better than it would have been otherwise. And then I've got, even in the new course, I've got some stuff. I think I can show you something. I've got some stuff that is going to really be interesting for you that I didn't have before. I've been doing a lot of research on D3 and on some of the stories that we have in the book and some of the things that you learned in training. And I found some things here. I wonder, can I share my screen?
I believe you should. We'll take care of that on the back end. In the meantime, while we're setting you up, Angela
Okay.
just dropped the $1 Billion Challenge link in the chat, as well as Tamika sharing a special congratulations to everybody because we just crossed the $31 million mark in $1 Billion Challenge. So shout out to everybody in the $1 Billion Challenge. Dr. Stories, are you set up yet just to share your screen? I believe they named you.
No, I'm not.
Okay, we'll take care of that.
Yeah, you all have been great. The thing is, hey, Frank, Frank says he'd like to figure out a way, I think, I see a little bit of it. Whatever you're trying to figure out, he wants to figure out a way to reinvigorate D3 in North Carolina. Well, it would take you, Frank, to get me to say something that I didn't want to say, but I'm gonna say it because of you. Thank you, Tracy. Number one, we're going to do a couple of D3 tours next year beyond the Atlanta, Detroit, Newark thing. I'm going to be inviting people like you, Frank, to take a date for 2022. And the tour is going to involve some, I'll just say it to you all because y'all are family, some comedy. Money is funny, but not funny. Every good Black comedian has some broke jokes. You can't be a good Black comedian and don't have at least one broke joke. So we're going to take the best of Black comedy, clean, of course, comedy. We're going to have folk cussing about money, and we're going to have a D3 comedy tour and use comedy as a kind of a clean night out, inexpensive night out, but as a way to reinvigorate people around money and to feel good about telling the truth about money. And then I am praying now about doing 6 or 7 cities myself. It's been hard for me to think about doing much of anything because I'm trying to be retired, and being retired for me has simply meant having weekends because I got other stuff to do besides church, but not having the responsibilities of pastoral ministry has freed me up to begin thinking about 2022. And although I am going to spend a lot of time in Ghana, West Africa next year, I'm also going to be, I'm going to be focused on people like Frank Thomas, who I know are committed and have the talent and they got the energy. And if we can inject some resources into their operation, they'll be able to really take D3 to another level. But I got to make sure these tools are right, because if these 2 platforms we have now aren't perfect, then the new Faith and Finance won't be perfect. The new animation series for children won't be perfect. I mean, I've got a whole pipeline of stuff, but you've got to. I think Jennifer Jones said it earlier. She said, you've got to perfect what you have before you scale to something bigger. And it's time for us. It's time. I want to be perfect. And I'm not saying we're not close to perfect, but what I am saying is that we want to be sure, more sure than we are today, because we need more help than we have today. We got a small staff. I know y'all hear D3 and it sounds like it's an army. We got about a dozen people that do this stuff, and most of them are tired. And all of them work more than their paychecks would assume. So this is nonprofit work. Nobody makes overtime. Nobody makes bonuses. I think for Christmas, I gave them like a $10 Christmas present or $12 something last year.
Pastor Soares.
I'm glad to hear the comedians won't be cussing. People cuss enough about their own money.
We'll let the preachers do all the cussing.
A couple of things, Pastor. I believe Michelle is giving you capability to share your screen if you still want to do so. And
Okay,
then you
yeah.
have some
I
tour
wanna show y'all.
requests.
This is for Frank Thomas, and this is for Brother Joseph. No, I can't. Why? Maybe it's me.
You see down at
Maybe
the
my
bottom.
problem. I don't have maybe my settings. Well, I wish I could, but I can't. I'll show it. I'll definitely show it on the 18th.
All right.
But I can't share. For some reason. Let me look at my. Go read some more. Read some more testimony.
Right. Well, you have some tour requests. There are folks that want you to come to their city.
Oh, what city?
Denver, Colorado. They want that on the 2022
All
tour.
right. Who's in Denver?
That looks like that's from Walter Huff Jr.
What church?
Walter, you there?
Yes, I'm here. How you doing, Pastor Soares? Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Praying for you.
Thank you.
I belong to Christ Church Apostolic, and I've been following the D3 movement, and I appreciate this being a tool, a bridge over troubled water.
Yes, sir.
And I'm very interested in getting on your list for consideration to come to Colorado. I am a realtor with the Denver chapter NARAD.
Wonderful.
And as Reverend Sutton knows, I have a radio program every Sunday. I need to get connected and do a blitz campaign for
Okay.
D-Fruit.
All right. First of all, I made a commitment to come to Denver to launch D3 when Chris was there. So you know how long ago that was, right?
A long time ago.
Right. And have not come for whatever reason. And so I'm prepared tonight. I've prepared now to 3 cities for 2022. Now, Michelle, you hear this. We're gonna hit Atlanta, was 4, Detroit, Denver, and North Carolina. Which city? Are we gonna do High Point, North Carolina, Frank, or we're just gonna do North
I
Carolina?
don't know that High Point is a good spot. Either Winston-Salem or Durham, I think would be either one of those places.
I like Durham. I like
Yeah.
Durham. I
Yeah.
love Durham. I was in Durham for Emancipation Day a couple of years back, just the year before Gardner Taylor died. Yeah, we'll do Durham. So I've committed in one night, I've committed to 4 cities.
Well, I'm your point guard for Denver, Colorado, in the Colorado Springs area.
All right.
Pastor, it looks like your list is growing. I'm looking at requests for Augusta, Georgia. Pastor Mark Jackson is here from Portland, Oregon. And someone is
Listen, I was already committed to Portland, so I might as well just write that down. I promised Pastor Jackson and the apostles and the bishops and all of the ecclesiastical luminaries in Portland that I was coming back. So Portland is definitely on the list. And then Augusta, Georgia, that sounds interesting. That's how, I guess if we're going, Augusta's too far from Atlanta to hook up with Atlanta, right?
Yeah, it's a little ways from.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So we have to extend the Atlanta visit so we can just swing. No need being that close to Augusta and not coming through there.
Yes, and Reverend Clarence Moore is on the line as well.
From where?
Reverend,
Augusta, Georgia.
Oh, all right. Well, we're 2 or 3 are gathered. We got 2 from Augusta, so let's do it.
all right, it looks like there's a request for St. Louis as well.
Oh, yeah. Is that Central Baptist? What church?
I don't know. Are you from Pastor Riley's church?
No, this is Reverend Nixon.
Reverend Nixon.
Yes, greetings, Dr. Soares. My home church is Pleasant Green Missionary Baptist Church. I know of Central Baptist and several other churches in the area, so I didn't know if you'd already had some prior activity plan or development there. So if they were aware of that information, so I was asking if there was any plans at this point. So when I'm next in touch with the pastors there, I'm based currently in the Virginia setting here in Alexandria
He's at Alpha Street.
at Alpha Street, but I do work with churches across the country and overseas. So
Wonderful.
I was checking with the St. Louis area because that's home for me. And I didn't know if you had already had communication with some of the pastors or leadership in that region in the St. Louis area.
Pastor Riley at Central Baptist is
Yeah.
our
Okay.
main contact. But
Okay.
as you know, he just got there a couple of years ago, which means that you
Yeah.
probably have deeper roots than he does. And
Yeah.
we can use all the help we can. I have committed, Lord, y'all are making me remember stuff that I almost forgot. But St. Louis is an important city. It's the gateway city to the South.
Mhm.
And
Well, we call it gateway to the West. Yeah.
yeah, to the west.
It is a lot that's going on there. So I didn't know, in terms of the work that's there, because a number of the need is very deep in
Right.
terms of the financial literacy in the area and the ability to collaborate more, collaboratively there. So
Yeah.
that
Great.
situation. So it would be good if we can look at some potential plans in the future.
I will be inviting all of you who are interested in hosting Tour City to a special meeting to discuss the logistics and the needs and the strategy and the resources.
Okay, then we look forward to it. And thank you for the Divine Nine experience. Had good time with Shonda and the staff and the rest of them in terms of engaging the family and the strategies there.
So which of the 9 are you in?
I'm Kappa
Kappa.
Alpha Psi, yeah.
All right.
So
All
Crimson
right.
and Cream there. So we
We're
was
looking forward. We're looking forward.
charter chapter members there here.
The key thing about us is that we're only interested in creating tools that other people can use. We're not
Yeah.
interested in D-free chapters. We're not interested in D-free members per se. I'm not trying to build D-free into its own something. I'm interested in D-free, all of us. We're committed to D-free being a tool that others use in their ministries, in their mission.
Well, that's interesting because along that line, I work in missions, and that's why I'm engaged with the churches across the globe. But one of the areas is in financial literacy that I work in. We just finished a month-long training with teenagers in juvenile detention centers, helping to teach those who are about to be released about STEM education, workforce development, but included in that is financial literacy. So this perspective, what D-Free is doing, I'm looking at also from the marginalized community perspective that I work with a lot, and how to connect them up through either through their churches if they're church affiliated, and or through their community if they aren't, but helping our folk to connect to good sound financial literacy education in the context that they're coming out of. So I appreciate the opportunity to see what you're doing and to connect it to those who don't ordinarily get access to resources that most of us know.
Yeah, and let me say to all of you, something that I rarely talk about. When God gave me this vision back in 2005, it was directly in response to a need that we had at my local church. There's no question about that. I needed a strategy to address the financial condition of my members so they could help address the financial condition of our church. Our church was over leveraged because of construction problems. Our church was growing physically, meaning we had a lot of praisers, but we were not growing financially because we found that folk will praise and not pay. So folk were coming to church, they were dancing and waving flags and shouting and singing and crying and getting saved and going home. And so while the membership was going up, the revenue was not going up commensurate with the membership. So there's no question that D3 was born at a moment like that. But there are two other things happening in my life at that same time. Thing number one was that I was becoming very angry as a pastor in response to the so-called prosperity gospel. I was literally getting angrier and angrier. The more I saw preachers on TV that were like modern day Reverend Ikes, preachers that were convincing people that if the people made the preacher rich, God would make the people rich. And it became like a pyramid scheme. And preachers were going around from church to church, getting $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 honoraria for these $100 offering lines from people who were broke. And it was driving me insane. That was thing number one. Thing number two was continuing to hear this narrative about how badly white people are holding us back. Now you might say, well, they are holding us back. Well, yeah, it's true. And the prosperity, and God does offer prosperity. But here's what happened to me. First of all, it bothered me that we weren't including in the Black history narrative how much Black people did when things were worse. It's not like racism just got started. Racism was worse in 1895 than it was in 1995. But in 1895, we started businesses, we started colleges, we started churches. And so the way we've allowed Black history to be described, one would think that white people have gotten worse and that's why we're doing worse. When the truth is, white people were worse 100 years ago and we did more. So it bothered me that we didn't talk about we talked about Prudential not insuring Black people, but we didn't talk about North Carolina Mutual being a Black insurance company that responded to Prudential. So our narrative says if our Black grandparents and great grandparents could do so much with the little they had, what is our problem? Of course, racism is real and racism is ugly and conservatism is growing. But when did that ever stop Black people who were determined to be free to get free? So the second thing was, God said, if you are that mad, angry about the prosperity preachers driving the Benzes and ripping off people, then start something, do something about it, create an alternative. So D-Free became an alternative to constantly singing, I've been buked and scorned on the one hand, and an alternative to, pray 3 times, rub 2 quarters together and put your money in the plate and God will bless you. So this is a personal passion of mine and a burden of mine. And although I'm no longer a pastor and the church no longer has the financial challenges that it did because of D-Free, I'm absolutely convicted to now that I'm freer and I've got a little more time, to helping those of you, particularly those of you who are younger, like Paris and like North Carolina. I want to help you all, take this thing and run with it, because I'm going to retire from D-Free as soon as I can. But I can't retire from D-Free until I know that all of you young folks, you young men and women, you Deltas and Kappas, you Baptists and apostolics, I can't retire from D-Free until I know you're going to take this thing and really impact Black America. Nobody's going to do it for us. My dear friends who are reparations advocates scared me to death that it looks like they're gaining some currency, because if America wrote a check to every Black descendant of slaves tomorrow, in 3 months, the check would be gone if it took that long. So even if reparations is, and I believe in reparations, I believe that somebody is owed some money. but I'm scared to get it. Because you mess around and let them give us reparations one time, they're not gonna do it twice. So I'm in. I want you all to go to those sites. I want you all to get really engaged. 2022 has got to be a year when we don't just sing songs and pray prayers and give nice testimonies. That's fine. But we're taking this thing deeper. That's what I want to announce tonight. On the 18th, I'm gonna give you graphic details. November, we're gonna launch 2022 with new partners and new products and new platforms.
I think that's our cue.
I think I've done all I can do tonight. Thank you, everybody. Reverend, thank you for your hospitality and your shepherding us through this conversation. Thank all of you who came on tonight. I know we usually try to keep you for an hour, but y'all kept me. Y'all did all the talking. And I look forward. Frank, thank you, man. You've been a friend for years, and I appreciate you. I love you. And to all of you new people.
As I mentioned to you, Dr. Soares, my wife and I were living D-Free before I even knew about D-Free. So it was just a joy to learn about how I could share it in a more succinct way.
Well, that's what you said when we met. It's what you say every time we talk. And I admire that because that's how the Lord works.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Lord works in mysterious ways, and he brings people together that couldn't have done it for themselves. So thank you, everybody. Lisa, good to see you. Good to see everybody. I couldn't call everybody's name, but I enjoyed. This has been the highlight of my week. I feel like I've been to the mountaintop after trying to get out of this valley called COVID-19. So y'all pray for me and I'll be praying for you. All right.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. Good night. God bless you all.